Howdy. Welcome to episode 6 of Sammy Legend's James Bond show. I am Sammy Legend. Today I'm going to be going over my James Bond favorites. Movies, actor, game, book, and music. And I'll just go ahead and get started. My favorite movie is Casino Royale. I chose to show the DVD because I prefer this cover over the Blu-ray. 16 going on 17 years now. That's my favorite movie still. When I first saw that in theaters, at the end of the foot chase at the beginning in Madagascar, I was literally on the edge of my seat and like mouth agape, like my jaw was on the floor. I was just out of breath and everything from the whole crane fight and the whole parkour chase, everything. I was literally just, and I had to like sit back and like sigh and take a breath and compose myself. So that was probably one of my favorite moments in all of Bond movies. And then just the whole movie is so good. And that's the movie that actually got me into reading the books. Shortly after that came out, I purchased Casino Royale, the book, written by Ian Fleming. And I think I've read that two times for sure, possibly three, in the last 16 years. My favorite actor is Daniel Craig. In my opinion, I think that in the movies he portrays more of the hardcore, gritty James Bond that we see in the novels mostly. There's similarities with him and Timothy Dalton. They both are very, very close to the novel Bond, and I think, in my opinion, obviously in some of the later Ian Flemings, he's got little one-liners, little quips, and Timothy Dalton and Daniel Craig do too. But I think for the more down-to-earth, gritty aspects of the Ian Fleming James Bond novels, which is written by Ian Fleming, I think that the closest you can get is Daniel Craig. Is he absolutely perfect and spot on with everything? No, I don't think any actor ever will be. But yeah, Daniel Craig is my favorite Bond actor. He's insanely good in all 5 movies. The next guy is gonna have quite a high bar to live up to. My favorite game is Nightfire. 007 Nightfire for the PS2. I played that game a lot when it was new 20 years ago. I have a lot of fond memories with that. It was really fun. It was, you actually felt like Bond. You're on a mission. Pierce Brosnan did the motion capture for it. Unfortunately, he didn't get his voice until the next game, Everything or Nothing. That aside, I have fond memories of it. And I do remember one point I was playing a multiplayer match with a friend, and I forget the map name or anything like that, but I know it was snowy, and I was on one end of the map, and there was a guy. I was up in a house, and there was a guy probably a couple football fields away, 200-300 yards. Running down below in the snow, and all I had was a pistol, and I basically sniped him with a pistol, and I headshotted him in the game, and I still remember that like 20 years later. It's crazy. But yeah, it's still my favorite game. Obviously, they kind of improved upon that aspect of actually it being kind of its own Bond adventure in Everything or Nothing, which is also a really, really good game. But I would have to go with Nightfire, and it kind of has tied in with Die Another Day. It had the Vanquish in it, and it was a really good game. My favorite book by Ian Fleming, anyway, would be Dr. No. This is the Folio Society copy. Caveat. Unpopular opinion. I would tie this, and I don't have the Folio Society of this copy yet. It's coming. But I would tie that with The Spy Who Loved Me. Yeah, I know I would probably get some flack for that, but Dr. No to me is just a really, really fun adventure. It's bordering on sci-fi with the giant octopus, but that aside, I think that's still a really realistic story, and he just goes through so much. It's what Dr. No has for him in the end with, testing him through his obstacle course. It's crazy. Bond goes through so much in that, and you can really feel his pain, his anxiety, his fear, everything. It's when he's crawling through the tunnels with the tarantulas and everything. It's such a fun read. And then for The Spy Who Loved Me, I understand that he's not hardly in the book until like the last third, but I don't know. To this day, this is still the fast. It's not it's not the thickest, but it's the fastest I've ever read one. I read it in 4 days, and maybe that is part of it because none of the other ones I've read that quickly. But it really resonated with me. I don't know. Just Ian Fleming isn't the best at writing female characters. I think that's a general consensus in the Bond community. Most people, I think, would agree with that. But in that novel, the Vivian, she really comes across as kind of human. Some of this stuff that Ian Fleming wrote for her, is it maybe flawed or outdated or whatever? Blah blah blah. Maybe, sure. The book was written in the '60s. You gotta read it not with 2022 eyes. Read it and realize that it's like a timepiece, a moment captured in time, and read it in the mindset from back then. But yeah, I like the lead up to Bond arriving, and everything, her whole life story, and explaining what's happening with the bad guys, and then Bond finally shows up, and at one point, if I remember correctly, I believe Ian Fleming describes him as shirtless, and he has like a machine gun strapped over his chest. And when I read that, the only thing I could think of is from the first Die Hard movie with John McClane, and he's running. He's got he doesn't have his shoes on, and he's shirtless, and he's got the MP5 or whatever strapped across his chest, and he's running and gunning. I got massive John McClane vibes when I read that, but yeah, I thought that was it. It was a really, really good book. Those two I think would be tied for my Ian Flemings. Now, for other books, I haven't read all of the continuation authors yet. I have them right here. I have read Colonel Sun, Trigger Mortis, With a Mind to Kill. I've finished all three of those, and I'm currently, you can see there, in the process of reading Devil May Care. Technically, I can't really include this because I'm not done with it. But of these three, I really do not like Colonel Sun. I think that some of the way he writes is very difficult, at least for me in my brain, for me to read and understand and comprehend. And like, it's a very thin plot. It's all over the place. Probably my favorite thing about that novel that sticks out to me that I remember is the Bond girl in that. I liked her. But I love Anthony Horowitz. I have not read yet Forever and a Day. That will come eventually, but I have read both of these, and I love both of these. I love the way Anthony Horowitz writes, and they're grand adventures. They're fun. You can really, he's really descriptive. You can really imagine what's going on in the scenes in your head. But for at least of my continuation authors of these three full ones that I've read, I think I would tie it with the Anthony Horowitz. If I had to choose, like if a gun to my head, if I had to choose, I would probably go with A Mind to Kill. That would slightly edge out Trigger Mortis, but they're both insanely good. And finally, I don't have anything to show for it, but music. I would say my favorite music in the movies, believe it or not, I actually really like the Bill Conti score from For Your Eyes Only. I don't know why. It's different from everything that had come before it. It's a little more fun, which is crazy because it's such a dark, down to earth story about revenge and stuff like that, and it's more of a a fun, upbeat soundtrack. But I like the way he does it. And then I love anything that David Arnold does, especially in Casino Royale. I love the soundtrack of Casino Royale, and I also really like the No Time to Die soundtrack. I like the main action theme at the beginning when he's driving the Aston Martin and he deploys the machine guns and goes to town on those guys, and it's going in circles, that dun 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 dun, that thing. And he does it at the end too when he's going up the staircase. It's awesome. It just gets your blood pumping and you're really in the scene, the action scene, and it's just a fun ride. But those are my favorites. My movie, my actor, my game, my book, and the music that I really like. Those are obviously there's music that I like, other music that I like throughout the series, but those are the ones that like really stick out to me. Without mentioning theme songs, that'd be a whole nother video. But so there you have it. This was episode 6 of Sammy Legend's James Bond Show. I am Sammy Legend, and I'll see y'all next time. Shaken, not stirred.